This is what separates Game of the Year contenders from Game of the Year pretenders. I don't even know what to say about this. Today, Sucker Punch announced Ghost of Tsushima Legends. I was wondering if this was an expansion pack, which would have been good enough, and yet somehow it's even better. It's even better than that. Ghost of Tsushima is getting this fall a free co-op multiplayer mode add-on that will take you to new locations, that will cover Japanese mythology, and I believe the individuals that are mentioned in the Ghost of Tsushima game, the musicians that you can come across and talk about, I'm pretty positive those are the players that you're going to get to play as. And Sucker Punch also mentioned a raid. Yes, a raid in Ghost of Tsushima with your friends.
I swear I've seen a lot of stuff in my life, but that was awesome.
This came out of left field for me. I don't know how many of you out there were aware that this announcement was coming or what was going on. If this was known, I completely and totally missed it. I mean, I got a full-time job and a family, so it's I mean, come on. This was a complete and total bombshell, because what I've been ranting a lot about lately are games that come out that don't offer meaningful content beyond when the credits roll. In fact, one of the only issues that I have with Ghost of Tsushima is that they don't have a new Game Plus option. But the game is full to the brim of wonderful things to see, a gorgeous world to explore, tons of side content for you to sink your teeth into. Ghost of Tsushima is a Game of the Year contender for all of the reasons that I've mentioned, as well as the other video that I did on it, which you'll see at the top of your screen. Plug. Definitely go watch that if you haven't yet. But at some point, you're going to end Ghost of Tsushima and there's not going to be anything else to do. This completely and totally prevents that. This gives the player an option and an ability to continue playing the game long after the credits roll. A totally different experience with totally new characters, new locations, and a supernatural aspect to it. Apparently, you'll have 4 different classes. Those classes will have different abilities and skills. And did I mention yet that it's completely and totally free to all players? It's such a power move by Sucker Punch.
Hey, Gator don't play no shit.
It's so thoughtful for the gamers out there who have put their time and money into this game, who are now coming to the end of it, hoping for something like a new Game Plus mode, and instead they get an announcement today of a totally new mode that will allow them to frickin' co-op roleplay Samurai Slaughter with their friends. I cannot wait to co-op Slaughter with my buddy David. It's going to be amazing. I can't even tell you how excited I am about this. I mean, it'd be different if Ghost of Tsushima, was released kind of half completed, which is kind of the norm these days. A lot of games like to do that, where they release, partially complete, and then they sell you what should have been in the original game later as DLC. I mean, if they would have said that this was a purchasable mode, totally optional, it still would have been a massive win. It would have been huge for Sucker Punch, but then they call it out as being a free add-on. Ghost of Tsushima continues to have a very solid and firm place directly in the running for Game of the Year 2020. So listen, I want to talk about the elephant in the room here. And there's a reason why, okay? Yes, I'm going to talk about The Last of Us 2 in relation to this, because this is distinctly a textbook example of what separates a true Game of the Year contender from a pretender. And I think it's especially relevant because I keep seeing certain people saying that The Last of Us 2 should be up for Game of the Year.
There's only one thing I hate more than lying. Skim milk, which is water that's lying about being milk.
Or I'm seeing media publications that have pretty much already decided, for reasons outside of the scope of this conversation, that they're going to give The Last of Us 2 Game of the Year. Listen, regardless of how you feel about The Last of Us 2, which is objectively a good game, offers essentially one playthrough, and that's it. The game just doesn't have any real reason for players to come back after the credits have rolled. Naughty Dog confirmed back in July that multiplayer was not coming. It was not going to be a part of The Last of Us 2, which is simply inexcusable for a game that drops 8 years after its predecessor masterpiece, doesn't offer the same level of content, let alone enhancements to that content, offers no meaningful gameplay enhancements whatsoever. Well, there is the ability to go prone, but spoiler alert, you could do that in Contra on regular Nintendo. And no, it doesn't count that you've named every dog in the game to make the player feel sad. By the way, notice I haven't even talked about the story because I understand why some people would love it and others, like myself, would hate it with the passion of a million burning suns.
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
In a year where we have games like the Final Fantasy VII Remake, my personal feelings aside on that, it's objectively a fantastic game and it should be on short list of Game of the Year.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it.
Doom Eternal, and still has Cyberpunk yet to release. You know, it's just not strong enough to be a Game of the Year contender. I just think that this announcement today by Sucker Punch is an incredible value for gamers, and it's something that every single one of you who own the game or will at some point pick up the game should be looking forward to. Such stark contrast to Naughty Dog and other developers that are out there. But I digress. I'll get off my Last of Us 2 soapbox now, but I'm sure at some point in the future, especially as Game of the Year rolls around, that this will come up again, and I'm going to get into some detail with that. That's all I have here for you guys today. If you enjoyed the content in the video here, do me a favor, click that like button, click subscribe, and then click the bell for all notifications. And if you could take 10 seconds to share it as well, that's the most important thing that you can do for me right now is share it with somebody. If you think they'll get value or entertainment out of it, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you guys again for all of your support. Take care of yourselves out there, and we'll see you in the next video.